Hey there! Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show, a show that's dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So today it's our series, episode number 23 of my favorite rock albums from the year 1980. This one I owned at one point on album LP during my last few years of living at home. I got it actually when it came out, so I had it about for 5 years or so. It's now part of my sister's collection. However, I have not replaced it on CD. Not that I haven't wanted to, I just, for some reason, haven't been anywhere where I've actually seen it for any kind of a decent price. So, but it's a great album. So we're talking about Triumph's Progressions of Power. Triumph is a funny band for me. They had their moment when Just a Game came out and stayed pretty strong for me through this and the next album that came after it, Allied Forces. At one point they were as high as probably my third favorite band, behind only Yes and Rush at that point in time, just in front of Kiss. Kiss had faded somewhat by this time. And this particular album is a very strong one in their catalog for me. So to me, Triumph's Just a Game album is my masterpiece, one of my favorite albums of all time. Progressions of Power and Allied Forces are strong seconds. They're not masterpieces in my opinion, but they are both very good albums, and albums I played a lot when I got them. So this particular album, I think I like the album cover quite a bit more than the Allied Forces one. I think Allied Forces probably wins the battle only because it has a couple of tracks that I really like more than anything on here. So, but there's not a lot of difference between the two albums as far as my general feeling about them. But this one is a solid album. It has a lot of really good stuff. The biggest things on this album is it's a pretty heavy album. In that time period, I would have called it heavy metal. It was a heavy metal album, in my opinion. Now, maybe it's just a hard rock album, but with lots of heavy metal sound to it. So, some pretty heavy riffs on this album, some pretty heavy songs on this album, some great guitar soloing and riffing by Rick Emmett, who I think is just a fantastic guitar player. Probably in that period of time, he was probably my second favorite guitar player behind Steve Howe. I remember feeling like he was like the number two guy. And that's because he's not just a solo master and a riff master. He can play the acoustic guitar with a great deal of enthusiasm and ability. He's pretty amazing when it comes to the acoustic guitar. It can make he's got a lot of versatility, I think. Just like at that point in time too, I think he was Guitar Player Magazine's Newcomer of the Year, or Best New Guitarist. I think that's what it was, but I'm not sure if it was in 79 or 80, but it was in one of those 2 years. Anyways, they've got some excellent drumming on here, maybe the best drumming by Gilmour than any other of their albums. The vocals are fairly evenly split. I think Gilmour gets a little bit more vocal play here than does Emmett, but it's not much. But they usually split the songs, and for the most part, I tend to go this route. I tend to like the Emmett stuff first, but then the Gilmour stuff ends up being the stuff I like the best in the long run. But they're both great vocalists. One of them has that really high range, like rock sounding guitar vocals, and then the other guy is more of a bluesy guy, but he also can get quite high too. So they've got some really good sounds to their vocals, I think. One of the biggest pluses for this band, and this band unfortunately was unfairly compared to Rush because they were both from the same city, they were both power trios, and they both had some progressive elements as well as some heavy elements in their music. And I think they just came up a little bit short on the end there, which I don't think is really fair, because Rush, of course, had a better, much more substantial amount of stuff behind them at this point. And they're three like super musicians where, I like Mike Levine. I've met him actually, great guy and stuff like that, but I don't think he compares very well to Geddy Lee. And but Rick Emmett compares very well to Alex Lifeson. Their styles are extremely different, I think, but they both have their strong suits. But anyways, I just think that they got compared unfairly there. So anyways, we're here to talk about this album. So this album has 9 tracks on it, all of them solid. There's only the one track that I don't really overly care for, but I wouldn't say it's a bad track. It has one of the better guitar solos on it, and that's Women in Love. Just not a track that I ever kind of warmed up too much. It's a little bit bluesy on the vocals, so maybe that's it. I'm not really sure what it is. Has that kind of keyboard opening too. So it starts out with I Live for the Weekend, which is a heavy rocker, and I think it was their single that they released. Pretty heavy riffing on this, lots of guitar, and just the guitars all over this album, just fantastic. All over this song, sorry, and it's a kind of an anthem, I think. Well, actually, yeah, it's a bit of an anthem song. I don't think of it as an anthem song, but I can see where many people would think of this as kind of a party anthem song. Sorry. Thought I had some black on my arm there for a second. Okay, so the second track isn't much different. It's a little bit more, it's more of a heavy rocker. Not much more, but a little bit more of a heavy rocker. There's a really great guitar solo on this and an acoustic bit at the beginning. So it starts out acoustic and then gets really banging. And this song was the only song that I think they ever had that actually got on the charts in England but didn't get on the charts here, which is kind of strange. But at any rate, both these two songs are like heavy start outs and give this album a real kind of metalish feel to it. Then they go to In the Night, which is very different from the first two tracks. It's a more of like a, is there such a thing as a heavy ballad? Yeah, I guess. I never think of this song as a ballad, but it is kind of ballady in some ways. It has some aspects of a ballad on it. Very strong emotional appeal to it with both the guitar and with Rick Emmett's vocals on this. He does some things with his voice on this I think are just incredible. I really love his voice on this song. It's not one of my favorite songs on the album, but I like that vocal part about it, and I like his guitar bit on it as well. Yeah, definitely the best vocal track on the album, I'm pretty sure. Nature Child's the next one. It's kind of to me it's kind of the deep cut. Not that deep, but it's pretty deep cut. It's one of their best. Some great guitar and drumming on this, and great guitar riffing on this as well. The solo was excellent. I like the catchy kind of drum and guitar parts at the end, just before the song ends. Just a fantastic tune. Woman in Love, we've already talked about. It's not one of my favorites, but it has a great guitar solo. The solo on it is fantastic. A lot of the songs have just like, and the thing about his guitar solos is that none of them sound the same. Like sometimes you get guys who will play some variation of the same solo on every song. Not here. This guy has some great solos and totally different too, like just amazing stuff. Some of it's really fast, some of it's really bluesy, some of it's a combination of both. Then there's some that are just like a rock solos. Like just the guy can do it all. He's just so good. Take My Heart, another kind of ballady type song, maybe. Yeah, as ballady as these guys get, like their ballads tend to be like a heavy ballad, I guess. Again, I don't know if you would call it that or not. Very good vocal display by Rik Emmett. He does those kind of vocals so well. Yeah, the album is kind of a soft. This song's kind of a soft feel to it. Maybe the softest song on the album, but it isn't. I wouldn't say it's a soft song, but it's got that feel to it. Then you jump right back into the party rocker with "Tear the Roof Off," which is kind of fits in well with "I Can Survive" and "I Live for the Weekend." "I Live for the Weekend," "Tear the Roof Off," similar type of song. Gilmour again on the vocals here. Some excellent drum and guitar openings, and some really nice guitar solo from Rik Emmett here as well. If you love guitar solos, like heavy guitar solos, this is a great album for that. Then we got "Finger Talkin'," which is also a guitar bit, instrumental, but it's acoustic. And he starts out with a flamenco guitar sound, very flamenco-y, and then goes into this little classical bit. It's just, then it turns kind of bluesy towards the end of it. Just some real versatility here shown by Rik Emmett, and some real good abilities. To go from the flamenco to this kind of acoustic sound, and then almost a classical, and then some blues, all in the same song, all while making it sound like it's a real appealing song to listen to. Yeah, I like it a lot. "Finger Talkin'." Almost as it kind of reminds me of the bit that he did on "Just a Game" too. He had the little acoustic bit on there too. That's really good. This one maybe a little bit better. I'm not sure. And then it ends off with "A Hard Road." This is, to me, the other track on the album that it's not really one of my favorite bits. Like, it has some nice keyboard openings, nice atmospheric keyboard openings actually, and some good riffing and drums on this. This is Gilmour again. I believe it's Gilmour singing. I'm not really sure. It's not a song I listen to a lot. Sometimes I used to take the album off as soon as it went past "Finger Talkin'." I don't do that anymore. I'm not like that, but it's not a bad song. Pretty hard song too. Definitely fits on the album well. There's no songs that don't kind of fit into the mold. You basically have your two molds. Your kind of heavy rocking stuff, and then you have your kind of ballady kind of atmospheric songs that fit in there, and you kind of flow it in. So overall, a strong album. I like it quite a bit. The two predecessors to this video, not Screaming for Vengeance, I was going to say that. Judas Priest's British Steel and Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, both were very comparable to this album when it came out. All three of them were strong when they came out and had impacts on me. This one just had more of an impact because it had more of a lasting impact. The music is just more memorable and stronger overall than either of those two albums, in my opinion. Plus, Triumph hasn't really diminished in my eyes, as sometimes Ozzy definitely has diminished in my eyes, and some parts Judas Priest with their cutting this guitar player to try and save money, kind of, that's what it had to be. It had to be, nothing else. So that kind of left a bit of a negative impact, I guess. Not a terrible one, like that. It's not lasting or anything like that, but I think that Triumph never has depleted in my eyes. I just haven't listened to this music for a long time, for the fact that I haven't owned it. I did actually own this in cassette as well. I remember I had it both in album and cassette, because I remember cassettes were the rage at a point, probably in the early 80s, where, and 8-tracks as well, but more cassettes, and we could actually play this in the in the car. We would play this in the car. I could play it in the car, so I bought some cassettes to play in the car when I was be driving around with my mother. She didn't really like that, but it's okay. She'll have to get over it. I am. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a fun one to do. The last two or three have really gotten stronger. This one is a bit of a notch above the last two, but starting to move up here quite a bit. And this one actually could have finished a little bit higher, but competition is stiff at this point. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back tomorrow with another music, my favorite albums of 1980. So have a good day. Bye.